Hi guys, welcome back. This is Alpha Omega Occasionally. We're talking about racism. And this is a subject that I don't know how many YouTubers broach this subject, but I'm going to approach this subject in a way that's fair, even and balanced. I could ask the question, or you could ask the question, or you've been probably told this so many times, that Thailand is a racist country. Well, we're going to discuss that, and we're going to see how different Thailand is to anywhere else. I'm Irish from the Republic of Ireland, and I was brought up in a racist environment. When I say that, there are two ethnic groups in Ireland, indigenous ethnic groups. They are what they call the settled community and the Irish travellers. Now I'm not going to use racist terms in this video. One, because I don't like to, and two, because YouTube doesn't like me to. We have another word for the travelling people in Ireland, but I'm not going to use it. The Brits have a word for Irish travellers, which I'm not going to use. But I was always told and brought up to believe that I shouldn't trust them. They are a sub-race. They are a separate ethnic group in Ireland. And I was always told not to trust them. And I grew up with a racist attitude towards them. And any Irish person watching this video will understand exactly what I mean. And any Irish traveller watching this video will know exactly what I mean. But we're not talking about racism in Ireland. We're talking about racism in Thailand. But I said that because I want you to understand that I'm giving this video, I'm making this video in a balanced and even way. I don't support and I don't condone racism of any kind. And this video isn't supporting or condoning racism of any kind. It's highlighting certain things that are believed to be true about Thailand, and they might not necessarily be true. Yes, there is racism in Thailand, but there's racism everywhere else. You just got to look at the history of the United States. You got to look at the history of the UK. You got to look at the history of Australia, the White Australia policy. But is that to say Australia is a racist country? No. Is it to say the United States is a racist country? No. And so on. Or even Thailand. But there are racist people everywhere. And I would say the reason people are racist is because of it's obviously because of their upbringing. But it's become it is part of human nature. People identify with people who look and behave like them. And they tend to distrust people who don't look or behave or sound like them. It's not carte blanche. It's not everyone or everywhere, but it is a thing. One of the reasons I decided to make this video is because on one of my other videos, I made a video about Pattaya being overrun by Indians. And in the comment section, I was referred to as a racist. I've been called a racist a lot of times based on that video. But that was not a video promoting racism. That was a video promoting the fact that there were a lot of people in a certain hotel that I was in that were very badly mannered. The fact that they belonged to a certain race had little or nothing to do with it. The adjective that was used to describe the people in that video was Indian, because that was a term of convenience, because that's where they were from. Not all Indian people are like that, but that's the behaviour that I experienced there. So, am I a racist for complaining about the way people from a certain country behave? No! I'm just making an observation about behaviour. And getting to the point of this video about Thailand. Thailand could be seen, and probably is seen, by people who've been here to be a racist country. Thais go to every length possible to shield themselves from the sun. because they don't want to go dark. Because if you're dark in Thailand, you're looked down upon. You're seen as being uneducated. And if you're seen as being uneducated, it's going to be harder for you to get a job, say a white collar job. That in itself doesn't stem from racism. It stems from ignorance, and this is what it is. If you haven't got money and you can't afford to put your child through private education, let's say, or decent education, you're going to put them out to work in the field because that's how you make your living. And if you work out in the field under a blistering sun, you're going to get darker. And the darker you are in Thailand, the less likely it is for you to be successful. So it's not because of well, it is superiority, but it's not because of racism. It's because of economics. The Thais view dark-skinned Thais. It doesn't extend to foreigners. They view dark-skinned Thais as uneducated and ignorant. But some of you would say that's the kettle calling the pot black, because most of the Thais that I know are generally ignorant about what goes on in the outside world. That's not a criticism, that's a fact. That's what I experience. There have been oodles and oodles and oodles of ads on Thai TV depicting black people or dark-skinned people as inferior. I'm not going to go into it, I'm not going to show them. This is not promoting this kind of thing. I'm just saying. And for a Westerner watching this stuff, you'd be absolutely horrified to see what is perceived to be okay in Thailand. All you got to do is look at Thai TV and all the superstars. They're all fair-skinned. Again, this is not necessarily racism as we would perceive it. Another thing about the Thais, by the way, the Thais are open about this because they don't feel there's anything to be ashamed of. We're not open about it in the West because we know it's something to be ashamed of. They're just less politically correct than we are. In the West, you can't say boo. You can't say a damn thing out of political correctness. Here, I would say it's almost refreshing the way you can. I'm going to give you an example of political correctness or the lack thereof. You know that in the United States, well, the population of the United States is made up of, 36 million Irish. There's more Irish or more people of Irish origin in the United States than there are on the island of Ireland. And what did the police in New York call their police van to transport drunks to jail? They called it a paddy wagon. Now, I don't take offence to that, because the Irish were the subject of racism for hundreds of years. We don't take offence to it. But it's a thing. And I don't know if it's still used, the term is still used, but I'm sure it is. I could look upon that as racism. If, for example, I used a different term, a different adjective to describe that police van, and I don't need to tell you what other adjectives I could use, do you think it'd be acceptable? No, because it's not politically correct. So, Thailand is a racist country in our minds. In their minds, it's not. Because they don't feel the same kind of taboos as we do. We get a bit of a shock when we come here and we see the things that we see. Now, I'm not going into detail on any of this because I don't want to get in trouble with YouTube. I'll tell you, I watched a video. It was put up 2 years ago. It was an Indian guy trying to gain access to a rooftop bar in Bangkok. And he was a YouTuber. And he had over a million subscribers. And I'm not going to mention who he is, but if you go into search this on YouTube, you'll probably find it. He tried to get access into a rooftop bar in Bangkok. And he highlighted the dress code. The dress code was written on the wall outside the bar on the rooftop. And it went into detail. Well, it did go into detail, and I'm not going to quote it verbatim, but I'll just say t-shirt or collared shirt, tailored shorts, and closed shoes. Let's say that's what it was. So he was wearing a t-shirt, he was wearing long trousers, and he was wearing closed shoes. They were kind of hush puppy sneakers kind of things. But the problem with his long trousers were they were hooped like zebra stripes, but hooped. But they were long trousers. And he was dressed, it said smart casual, he was dressed smart casual. He was denied access to the rooftop bar. And he went into he went crazy. But he contained himself at the same time. He demanded to speak to the manager. And he quoted the criteria based on, the criteria that they set out for access, for the suitable clothing to access the rooftop bar. And he pointed out that his attire corresponded with the requirements, and he was still denied access. And he claimed that was racism. By the way, there were Europeans going in with attire that did not conform to the criteria, and they were being let in. Now that's one Indian YouTuber who did that. I haven't seen any of the rest. Well, I've seen a lot more. You can find it anywhere here. But I'm not trying to defend it. I'm just trying to highlight the fact. Now that in itself, that particular example does no defence as far as I can see. I don't see any defence. Yes, there are racist people in Thailand. But there are racist people all over the world. Thailand doesn't do it any differently to the way we do it. The only thing about it is they don't have any taboos about it. They're open about it. Completely open about it. Look at that. He's delivering ice on a motorcycle sidecar. Hang on, I get out of his way. No, I don't need to get out of his way. He's delivering ice on a motorcycle sidecar. Half his profit has been dripped away. Will I say that's stupid? The way Thais deliver ice in Bangkok and elsewhere in open bed trucks in 35 degree heat? Would I be accused of being racist for saying that? No, it's an observation. It doesn't appear to be the most practical way to deliver your ice. And it's not. So believe it or not, Thailand has racism within it. Every country has racism within it. It's part of human nature. It's one of those parts of human nature that's unpalatable or impalatable. Is it unpalatable? It's not good. It's not something that people should be proud of. Absolutely not. But it is part of human nature. And I don't think you'll ever get away from it. I'm different to you, therefore I'm better than you. That's the mentality. We all know that the West is because of the influx of immigration, the tsunami of immigration that's threatening to undermine the very culture of our Western countries. I'll talk about my country. It's been overrun. But you see, is that going to happen in Thailand? No, it's not. Is it going to happen in Japan? No, it's not. Why? Because they're xenophobic countries, and that's not a negative term. That's just a term. They don't allow immigration here on a mass scale or even a small scale, and they don't allow it in Japan. And there's lots of other countries in Southeast Asia that don't allow it. Is that racism? Are we here discriminated against because of our race? Well, I'll say the word discriminate, we all discriminate. I discriminate between eating seafood or red meat. I discriminate between drinking gin or drinking beer. So to discriminate is not a bad thing. The word discriminate has become associated with as a negative term, but it's not. So the Thais do discriminate. They discriminate in favour of themselves in Europe and the States. and Australia, well, I don't know too much about Australia, I won't say too much about Australia, but in Europe and the States, they discriminate in favour of the refugees. And do you know what that does? That cultivates racism. So because Japan and Thailand and the countries in Southeast Asia don't allow immigration on that scale or any scale, you might argue the point that it's not going to cause a problem socially, and therefore it won't there will be no cultivation of racism. It's worth thinking about. So all these YouTubers that go on about the fact that Thailand is a racist country, you don't have to look very far. Well, you could just look beyond and see that I have come from a racist society and it's still racist. But you see, it's taboo to mention it. But here it's not. So there you go. It's a global phenomenon. It's a global thing. There's nothing good about racism, but it exists and it probably always will. I don't know what you think about this video. I don't know if you'll still call me a racist just for broaching the subject in the way I've done it, but I did say it would be a balanced view and a balanced critique. Let me know what you think. Do you think your country is racist? Do you think Thailand is racist? I live in a country where my son is viewed as an outsider even though he was born here. You could term that as racism. How do I know that, by the way? Because when I'm out with him, they call him a Farang and they ask me, does he speak Thai? And I reply, of course he speaks bloody Thai. He is Thai. He gets his Thai national ID card this next month. He'll be 7. Anyway, I don't want to ramble on too much and digress. But I hope you've got something from this. And I hope, if you haven't done so already, you click that like button, the share button, subscribe button. Do all those wonderful things. And I'll bring you back another wonderful video very soon. Thanks for joining me.